Nobody there.
Nobody there.
Nobody there.
Okay, we got something there. What is that? What is that? We would hear female voices up in this area. When you mentioned the female presence.
Hi everybody, welcome to the Twin Ports Paranormal, guys. We're back here. I'm Victoria Main. I've got Harley, Steve, Rick, and Ron, and we're gonna do the second part of. I hope you caught last time's episode of the 1948 Commemorative Hangar up at the airport. But we've got a second piece about that because a lot of stuff happened. So Harley's going to just give us a little intro for those of you who didn't see the last episode.
Yeah, as far as for the last episode, we kind of catch up a little bit. We had some EVPs and we had a materialized figure that showed up, an apparition, and we've got more material on it, much more. But today's show is going to be a little different. We'd like to explain some of the things that are going on in the hangar.
And some of our experiences we had, So yeah,
Some of it needs a little background, a little
Yeah.
context, so people understand what's
Yeah.
happening. So the first clip we're going to see is actually is an orb. That's the first clip.
Yes.
So can you talk a little bit about?
You'll notice it's me and Harley in the clip with this one, and what I have on the table there is a meter. It's a REM pod, and the center of this REM pod has a little light that stays lit, a little red light, and you'll see it on the ceiling of this video. What that does, it gets the cold and the hot, if there's a big change in it. And as this orb that you'll see come across, I just want you guys to pay attention to the ceiling, because that's where you'll see.
So you had this REM pod attached to the ceiling?
No.
But a REM pod
It was illuminating the light to the ceiling.
Okay.
That's how you can really see it, in this video.
I gotcha.
So when this thing goes by, sort of watch the ceiling. You'll see the blinking of the REM pod started going off, and it's a sign that, it's not a one with sound. But myself and Harley, we heard the REM pod start doing its beeps for the temperature change.
Okay.
And that's what happens on this clip.
Okay.
And what a REM pod is it detects electromagnetic field in a 360 degree range. So there's lights on it that'll show which area the energy is. But then this also in the center has a temperature gauge, so it'll let you know when it rises and falls.
So when that orb came by it basically registered.
Registered the temperature change.
Did it register hot or cold?
Cold, because it was. It's a red light, and sometimes it'll change to blue. Mm-hmm. But if I believe it stayed red, but it was picking up some change there in
Gotcha.
the temperature. So.
All right, well, let's take a peek. See our orb.
Like I said, watch the ceiling up there, that little glow.
Where's the orb?
There's
Right
the REM
there.
pod.
And then it'll still blink even a couple more times. It blinked immediately, and you're still getting the blinks.
Wow. So did you guys see that orb?
No.
No,
So-
there's some people that can see them with peripheral vision, and it's a lot of times if they see something glide by, they just naturally take it as just nothing, vision or tired
Sure.
or whatever. But a lot of times there's people that can see them with their peripheral vision as they go. My daughter is the one that can see them as they're in at an intersection. She saw a blue orb, and she was discussing that with me. And says, "Well, why are orbs different colors?" And she had got double whammy. But my ex-wife's, she has a lot of feelings with sensitivity, and with my family. I had asked her. I said, "Were you by a cemetery?" I said, "Oh, I went by an intersection, a crossover." Blue generally that color is a protective orb. So I says, "Well, on the way back through, see if there's a cemetery there." And she did. And she called me, says, "Yeah, right there is that intersection. You look to the right down the hill, there is a cemetery." So I says, "Well, it might have been an incident there that happened. Maybe it's a protective orb. Maybe it's somebody that, died in that area from an accident. You'll never know." But they're not impossible to see. Generally, we don't see them at all until we.
So
look
you
at
guys just saw the REM pod going on.
Right, right.
So you figured something was, but you had the camera rolling, so the camera caught it.
Yes,
Yeah.
But you had to find out later.
yeah.
Basically.
Yeah, we had the stationary cameras set up, and those, like I said, those ones don't have sound, so
Yeah.
these clips don't have sound.
Okay.
We actually got our good cameras later. This was an early investigation before we got our much better equipment, so.
Okay. Okay. Well, and the next clip we're gonna see, I think is the second clip was the. Is that the flash cam, where the camera like flashes?
Oh.
That was wasn't
no.
that a fluorescent light that
No,
came
what
on?
that is, what that is some of the experiences that the people in the hangar were having was the lights would go on and off.
Okay.
In the museum part of it. And we had a camera set up, that same camera that had with the last video was sitting there. And we were all in the hangar itself. The hangar and the museum is separated. You had to go through a door.
Okay.
And nobody,
So you're not in this room.
nobody's in the museum at all at this moment. We're actually having a break. One of our investigators, Jamie at the time, was just sitting there looking at the monitor, and she goes, "There's some flashes going on, in there." And we went back and we recreated it and stuff like that also. And what happens is a light, someone turns on and off a light in there, and the light switches are inside the museum. You can't control nothing from in the hangar itself in there. So she sees these lights. We go back, we review it, and we also recreated it, and it's exactly what it does. Something turned on and off that light. But what you see is on the glass, you'll see a reflection of the actual light that's in the hallway. And that's what you see in the light. You'll see that flash, and you'll see the fluorescent shape of the bulb, it's straight across. And it goes on and off twice.
The guys that are there had told us that there have been many times they've gone back there and the lights have been turned off, the lights have been turned off, on or off. It was a regular kind of thing. And they ended up eventually going back in the museum area and shutting power down when they left. Mm-hmm. So otherwise, if they left power on next day, the light would be on. And we checked for sensors and everything. There's no light sensors in there at all.
Yeah, and those light switches, they're just like any other light switch. You have
You
to
actually
you
physically
actually
have to
physically
flip
have
the
to turn them
switch.
up and down. We couldn't find anything that would cause that to happen on its own.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's take a look at our second clip here.
Right there, you see a flash, and if you look in the back, you'll see the reflection on the glass. And that was definitely the light in the hallway.
And that
going
was
on and off.
was just outside the Nazi room.
Yeah, yep, that's the
And
German room we called.
That's
yeah.
where the big glass case was, and that's where the reflection was. It was actually what they called just the opposite side of the Japanese collection, and they had aircraft and stuff, and they had a Canadian uniform. But that area over the top, now it was really funny. We didn't catch a lot of that on our stationary cameras, because they're getting knocked down and everything too. So it was really hard to say that as much activity that was there that we couldn't have caught more from another angle.
Well, in that clip, that last clip, doesn't the camera also move? Is
Yeah,
that the
at
one?
the very beginning, the camera
Yeah.
actually moves. Yeah,
Like takes a little jog.
Yeah.
Like,
just kind of.
and there's nobody in the room
Nobody
to
in the room.
touch the camera.
No.
And that camera that we had there was one that
It was on a tripod.
was on a tripod. Yeah,
And
And
that one was
that
definitely
was hardware.
definitely secured. And again, we wouldn't have noticed that till after we reviewed it, of course. But we actually noticed it that night because Jamie seen it on the monitor outside of our. We had two monitors.
Okay.
We had one inside of the museum itself, and we had one that was out in the hangar.
And you had
when we
somebody
were-
watching you.
Yeah, when we were in the hangar, it was break time. We just take breaks, and Jamie just sat and noticed that. But we went back and we were trying to say, okay, what would cause this? So we go back in there, and have everybody watch monitors, and I'm going, okay, now I'm gonna flick. We had to find which light it was.
Right.
Because there's multiple lights through this place. And finally I find the right one, I click it on and off, and they're going, that's it, that's it. So we knew what switch it was. But there's nobody there to turn that on and off.
Wow.
And we caught that, and we could recreate it exactly. So that's exactly what happened, was the light switch went on and off.
Wow. Wild.
And while we're on the subject of lights, another thing happened that night. There was a lot of action in that place, so everybody had their ears out listening and watching. And we were taking a break in the middle of the hangar. They had a big round table and chairs. And we were sitting around it, just taking it easy and having a cigarette. And right above us in a junction box, it just flashed and all kinds of sparks, and all the lights went out. And it's like, everybody just about went crazy, but I got on the phone and called the caretaker and found out which breakers to turn on and off, and that one you couldn't get the lights back on, but we did finally get some light in it
Yeah.
for the rest of the night.
Wow. We do have an EVP of that too.
Is that one of the EVPs?
That's one of the EVPs we'll be playing here.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the popping, what is the first EVP we have is, oh, okay, that's the woman's voice.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting.
Why don't you tell a little bit about that?
Oh, that
If
was,
we're gonna get into that one, that was that Japanese. Okay.
Well, see, the Japanese room, we had trouble with that room right from the start. Number one, we placed a recorder on the shelf in a display, turn it on, and come back in a half hour, and it would be shut off. Batteries are good, checked it all out. Change the recorder, stick it up there, it goes off again. So something was actually shutting the recorder down. Now, during that EVP in the Japanese room, it's like a woman's voice is saying something like Alibi or Halibi. I looked it up I Googled it, and there's different meanings in different languages, but this one in Japanese stated it meant fly high, fly low. So it was kind of a goodwill gesture to a pilot, as you know, for leaving. Just fly high, fly low, stay safe kind of thing. So that was really interesting. As it goes by, you can hear these banging sounds, and it sounds like gunfire. And then you can hear a scream, and you can hear more banging as it goes, and then it quits. So it's like I don't know how to explain it. It's what do we call when things
Residual.
Yeah, residual
Yeah.
when they more or less repeat themselves as time goes
Probably
on.
coming off of some object.
Yeah.
That's there, that absorbed this energy and
And there
stuff.
was a pilot's Japanese flag with all stuff written on it from people, goodwill gestures and everything, and names and stuff, and that was hanging there as well.
So it was almost like the sound of a battle scene, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Well, when they say residual, we've explained it before in other episodes, but a residual is basically like a record that plays over and over again. So you'll see the same image, same time every day, and that it's not intelligent. It just keeps replaying over and over again, and that's more than likely what they caught.
Yeah, and if you're in an area with a lot of limestone, that's a
Limestone.
huge.
Well, and these objects, right?
Yeah.
You often find this stuff attached to the objects.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, all right. Well, let's listen for this name that we don't, can't say.
Okay, we had to translate this. The word Libby, something along that form, was Japanese. This was taken out of the Japanese display recorder. The woman was saying, fly high, fly low. But near the end, I think the pilot met his demise. So I'm going to play it for you. It's,
Kind of in
it's
the middle.
at the beginning, and then she says something else after she says that, and then it progresses. You can start hearing the banging in the background
Yeah.
going off, and then it goes, where you saw the screen when it widened up, you could hear like somebody was screaming, and you could hear the bang, bang, bang again. So it sounded like a battle. It sounded like maybe the plane was being shot down. I don't know, but it was pretty interesting. We played it back, and it was. I had talked to Rick. I says, "We got somebody that got shot down. It really sounds like it."
Yeah.
So of course we're all crazy about it. You know, we get this stuff goes on. We get recordings, and we're on the phone going back and forth, playing this stuff, sending it to each other.
You're right.
But it really gets us going.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, so where did you guys go next now? And after we did, I think our next EVP is that the I'm trying to remember what the.
Belong to you.
Oh. Where you hear.
That was with Karen, was it?
Well, is that the one with Ron and Karen? And then there was where Karen got, Ron and Karen, if this is the one, I'm sure it is. Ron and Karen were in actually that German room again. And Ron is asking, you know, any of these uniforms belong to you and stuff like that. And Karen brought up things with the objects. And at the same time, Karen is holding a K2 meter. And the K2 meter makes no sound, it'll just light up. And so they ask these questions. You'll hear Karen say yes. That's because her K2 meter spiked out. But what they didn't know is what we caught on the recorder. There was like a response, and then you hear Karen say yes because she noticed the K2 meter go. You know, so it all
So
corresponded.
Karen asks the question.
Ron and Karen, yeah, and then Karen, as soon as she's seen it spike, she goes, yes. You know, like that's the answer. Their answer is
She
yes.
says, "Does this belong to you?"
Yes.
Okay, is
Yeah.
her question.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
okay. All right, let's roll that one and see.
All right, on this one here, Ron and Karen were asking questions, and at the end you'll hear Karen go yes, and that's because she got a response on the K2 meter that she was holding. It spiked out. But we also caught this on a recorder. Let us know what you think it might be saying.
Is one of the uniforms yours?
What are these items in here? Do they belong to you? Yes. Do they belong to you? Do they belong to you? Do they belong to you? Do they belong to you?
Yeah, you can definitely hear
Yeah.
an answer to the question.
Yeah.
I can't really make out. Does it say? I don't know what it says though.
I'm not
It's
even
like-
certain myself.
But it's just a sound like.
Yeah, I mean, it could be saying yes, it could be,
Could be
you know,
saying
who knows?
it could be saying something.
Right,
Yeah.
but it's just sort of neat on how that came, and Karen's K2 meter went off, and she goes, yes. You know, because it
Yeah.
answered, you know, she thought it was answering through the K2 meter.
Right.
Which it does. You
Yeah.
know, they will do that. And along with, we got this, whatever it was, on the recorder. So, I mean, that was, to me, it was. a
There's
good call.
definitely something there.
Yeah.
That's not her. That's not Karen's
Yeah.
voice. So. Okay, what's our next clip now?
Light explodes.
Oh, that was weird.
Yeah, that was the one with, Ron was talking about.
Yeah.
Maybe you can bring us up to that
Let's
one.
bring it- what?
It's
Where
the
the light
light.
exploded.
Oh,
yeah.
yes, that was great.
That's
Yeah.
kind
That
of.
was
Yeah.
fun.
That's kind of a. That's a fun little clip.
That was the one that Ron was explaining where it was like the 4th of July fireworks when that thing blew out. I mean, the junction box, it was just sparks and you know, it just like watching those little sparklers, yeah.
Yeah.
And it was fun because scared the crap out of us for one because you hear the arc and the lights go out and
Sure.
stuff. So it was there. But apparently we may have energized something in the room at that time as well because we're getting a repeat of it saying something and it escalates a little bit more as it goes. And whenever you throw energy in the air, you can definitely get reactions.
So was this light thing? Did that happen towards the end of your evening?
It was towards the end, yeah.
Towards the end, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then another thing too, at the same time, that night that we were there, there was a big storm outside. So all the big doors are rattling and going, and there's lightning and thunder, and
So there's some electricity in the
So-
air, literally.
Oh,
that
then
added
we,
to it.
then we took the taser out, the 1,000,000-volt taser, and
Oh, we added that.
we added that in there too. So it was pretty crazy.
Pretty
night.
energized.
Yep.
All right, well, let's take a look at the festivities.
Okay, this one in the hangar, that night we were getting rain, and rain was coming in, and arced out one of the overhead lights, and you can hear the bang, and we got a response after that, just some weird noises. Tell me what you think, okay?
It's like, what the heck was that?
So
We didn't hear that.
you hear the light pop. Oh, you didn't hear that.
We didn't hear that, that noise that was constant.
We didn't
It
hear
sounded
it.
like somebody in pain.
It was just growing. I mean, and it just continued on like, what, 6 times?
It sounded like it was trying to catch its breath.
It was
And it was
something.
just gagging for air each time.
Oh,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, and
But-
not sure what that exactly was, but it was something we definitely did not hear. And,
Huh.
and what would that, you know, after that strike and that spark and that electrical stuff, this came behind it, you know, it's like, wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's not, you know, so you guys, you know, you got a lot of stuff up there. You probably could have, you know, you probably have more stuff
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
that happened up there. But,
I'd like to tell a little quick, here's an incident that I had there that, you know, we don't have cameras on it, but there was a time I only sent in so many people at the hangar, or inside the museum at a time, so we didn't have any interference. And I brought in the FLIR, you know, which is a thermal imaging, and Harley was gonna be there with me, you know, he's gonna be behind me while I'm walking through, and I started walking through, and I go through all these different rooms, and I started to come back, and I hear Harley behind me, like, stumbling and stuff. So I'm holding my FLIR, I grab my flashlight out of my pocket, and I just click it on behind me. I'm still looking at the FLIR, and I thought I'm gonna give Harley light so he can, you know, don't wreck nothing in this place. And as I come to this one room where we did have the monitors, one of the monitors in the museum part, Harley's sitting there. I'm like, well then who the heck is behind me? You know, and I look, of course, nothing there. Somebody was walking behind me that whole time in there, even bumping into stuff. And I was the only one in there. And the thing is we don't have any cameras of that, but I didn't even know.
He come around the corner. He says, "What are you doing there?"
Yeah.
I said, "I thought you were behind me." No, I come back to check the monitor. You just kept going, so I just sit and watched you. So I was watching him go through.
so you heard somebody walking behind you.
Like he never left, and especially towards the end there when he was or whatever was banging into things right behind me, and I thought I better give him some light because he's gonna wreck something. And then all of a sudden I walk in the room and there he is, there he sits. I mean, this is the kind of stuff that we were experiencing
Right,
that
and you
night.
can't capture it all, right?
No,
You're not gonna be at
no.
the right place at the right time to capture all
Yeah,
of it, but.
yeah.
No, in every investigation we do, we all come away with our own personal experiences that you don't quite get on a recorder, you don't get it on a video camera. It's something you witness and you wish you had that stuff there, but they don't always want to have it recorded, so they're going to throw stuff at you when you least expect it.
Yeah,
Oh, especially like, you know, like in Ron's case, we do catch some of it, you know, like on camera when he fills something. He gets touched a lot. You know, we'll be placing, he'll say something, just touch me in the arm. I think you got touched that night too, didn't you?
At
Or-
that hangar.
At the hangar.
Yeah, I was walking in back of the girls anyways, and I had the cam walking along, and from the back I could feel just like somebody cupped my elbow, like trying to hold up the camera for me. And I turned around to look, and there was nobody there. And then right after that, I felt the hand on my back, and I mean, you could feel the hand. It wasn't, you know, both places. You could feel that it was a hand.
wow.
Yeah, so I mean, you get all kinds of things
Yeah.
like that, which, like I say, you don't get it all on camera, and of course, you're not gonna see the hand, you just gotta, you know, believe what the guys
Yeah, well, I
with you.
you remember I had that experience at Raspberry Inn when I was there, and I felt like something, I all of a sudden felt my hair go like that. And I thought, well, I suppose it's possible that there was a draft that just hit that one spot on my head that I didn't feel anywhere else. But it didn't seem likely, and I looked to see if there was, anybody right behind, because it honestly felt like it could have been a touch or like a breath if somebody kind of breathed on your hair and it moved a little, So I looked to see if somebody was talking behind me, and the only people that were by me were a couple of feet away. So
Yeah.
unless they were literally standing back there blowing on my head,
We had a picture
know.
that we all took that evening too, with Lady O and everybody was there. And he blew the picture up. If you look behind me, it's like you could see another face behind me.
And some people think that that was a person.
Yeah.
And to me, I sort of love that they think it was. Because there wasn't a person behind there in that hallway, into the back room. And it's actually see-through, but it looks so real. These are, some catches that are totally amazing, I think, and the
Is that the
experiences.
one when he was showing the guy in back of him, the camera?
No,
it's
that
the
was
group.
another.
It's a group
It
shot.
was a group shot at
Oh,
the end.
oh,
Yeah.
oh.
So, kind of wrapping up that discussion, let's talk about what you guys have coming up next.
Well, we've
So our
got,
next episode
we've
is,
finally gotten around the point where we have some homes that we've done, and we'd like to bring forward. We've talked with the owners of these dwellings, and they've given us permission to air what we found on their places.
so
we're
these
gonna
are
be-
folks that called you,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
And
Yes.
reached and said, we're having some kind of problem,
Yep.
and we'd like you to come up and take a look, correct?
Right. We're not gonna say exactly whose home it is yet.
Right.
What we're going to do. We don't want to create any bum rushes to their homes to find out if they got ghosts.
Yeah.
So, but we'll when the program opens, we'll give a good idea of.
Oh, I'm excited for that. That's
Yeah.
interesting. All right. Well, that wraps up this episode of Twin Ports Paranormal. Come and see us next time. We'll be back with the guys.